guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time joining me, welcome, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can enjoy more videos like this one. All right, so tonight we're going to be going over episode number 5 of Empire, called Stronger Than My Rival. So before I start, I just want to say that if it's all right for me to just be honest, I didn't really enjoy this episode. It didn't really have that much going on up until the end when Lucious kind of dropped a little, kind of a small little bomb. But we're going to just get right into it. I'm going to try to get through this video as quickly as possible, especially since it just didn't really drive me to be passionate about anything really. So it really shouldn't be that long, hopefully. Okay, so we get the first scene. It opens up kind of like where we left off for the last episode, which is Cookie running out of the house, and she gets into the car and it blows up, right? But before it blows up, what we see this time is that there's a letter on the dash, and she takes the letter and she opens it up and there's a message, and then boom. So my thing is the letter was probably kind of like a last laugh type of letter, you know what I'm saying? A last screw you kind of letter. And then that was it. So she was saying something about how she can't believe that she underestimated that person. Now, after she said this, we get a present day scene where we have Tracy visiting Kingsley's gravesite, okay? And she's over there talking about how much, of course, she misses her son, but that Cookie took everything from her, and she vows to get everything that belongs to her or whatever. So I don't know if this is if this is their way of making us believe that the person that Cookie underestimated is Tracy, but I'm not sure. Okay, and another thing is I'm a little confused about the timelines now, because the last episode, when we found out that Cookie got blown up in the car or whatever, we hear her voice over, right? And it says 9 months from the time that she was talking to the therapist. But then we have the present day where Tracy is visiting Kingsley's gravesite, and then the next scene we have Cookie, dealing with her situation with Lucious packing all her clothes up, but they didn't let us know whether that was back 9 months before, or I'm starting to get a little confused with the timelines. And plus it's a little confusing to hear Cookie's voice over while she's supposedly been blown up in the car. Like, I never thought it would end this way and stuff like that. So that's getting a little confusing. So let me know what you guys think about that. What do you think that means, that Cookie has her voiceover going on while it's blown up? Someone said something about it has to do with a movie that they're doing or whatever, but I just don't understand why, if she's dead, why her voiceover is going on, right? I mean, whatever. I don't want to dwell on it too much, okay? So anyway, like I said, Lucious, he's still angry in this episode, and he's packing Cookie's things up out of the master bedroom. He said he's in here because he's the master. He's tired of feeling like a guest in his own house and all this stuff. And she's like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the one that wanted to be in the guest room. You're the one hiding and all that stuff, And so he's telling her that he wants her to get out by tonight. And she's just like, wait a minute, why are you coming at me like that? And he's like, why I'm coming at you like that. You betrayed me. You confided in Damon to me and all this stuff. And she's like, I done forgave you over 1,000,000 times. You can't forgive me for this one thing. But no shade to some of you men out there. And I said some of you men. You do certain things to women, and women can be more forgiving, right? A lot of times over. And then the one time that a woman does something and with another man, let's say, some of you men just really can't let it go, and it's like the ultimate betrayal for some of you men. But yeah, you can simply do it over and over to your woman. You might want to think about that, how unfair that is, and how it's hypocritical. Anyway, so but no shade though, I'm just keeping it real. Let's just be real. All right, so in the next scene we have Lucious. He goes to visit Philly Street, and we find out that, because I thought there was going to be some type of beef going on, right? And so we find out, along with Lucious, that Philly Street doesn't have any hard feelings against Lucious, and even for not being in the movie, Philly's like, you know, whatever. It's your movie. You do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? My situation is that I have my own regrets that if I would have never killed this man for robbing me of $1 million, I could have just, you know, got that money back. You know what I'm saying? And I could have, I think he said something about he could have built his own, you know, empire, or I'm not sure if he said that. I might be just adding some stuff in, but I didn't. But he's basically saying that he could have had his own success. You know what I'm saying? You know, but by killing that man, he robs himself. So he's a bit upset about himself. He has his own regrets, and he's just letting Lucious know there's no hard feelings here. And Lucious was very taken aback. And so he invites Philly Street to come to the studio later on so they can, you know, for old time's sake. Back at Empire, we have Andre holding a meeting, and they're talking about their next steps now that Tiana has, you know, left the scene, you know, not the scene, but she's left the company. And they're talking about moving up Treasure's album. And so Lucious comes in and he interrupts Andre. And he's like, why would you want to move up Treasure's album? And I think you should do Devon and all this stuff. So they're going back and forth a little bit. And then Andre asks everyone to clear the room. So Andre is, you know, telling his father what he thinks, the metrics, and this and that. And Lucious is like, I didn't teach you like that. You sound a little bit like Kingsley. And he says, you know what? How about this? How about let's have a nice little father-son competition. And whoever wins, you know, between Treasure and Devon, whoever wins, whoever gets the most streams, they will have Tiana's release date. So they look like they were having a little friendly competition. I will say that about in this episode. You didn't really feel any hate between Andre and Lucious. So I was happy to see that. Too bad I can't say the same for Cookie and Lucious. Okay? Anyway, so then I'm going to skip right over the disagreement that Becky and Giselle were having. And I'm going to go into Lucious being petty. Okay? He's got his food labeled all up in the fridge. And he's just on this whole petty path in this episode. And, you know, Cookie is not feeling it. Okay? So now back to the competition. We got Treasure and Devon. They're both singing the same song. And then Philly shows up to Devon's session. And he makes a suggestion to Lucious. And he tells him, hey, how about you add some harmonies on this track for Devon? And Lucious is like, how about you do it? And he said, and if it works out, you may have a job here. You know, you could join the team here at Empire. All right. So anyway, then we have a scene where they're listening. They're kind of having like a listening meeting or something like that in the boardroom of Empire. And they're listening to Devon's song and you know, the magic that Philly Street put on the track. And so Cookie comes in with a bunch of boxes, Lucious's belongings, and she's having the people dump it all on the table. So she's like, basically, you want to do this petty war, we can do this. And so when everybody leaves, she tells him, listen, I understand you don't want to feel like, you know, a guest in your own home, but I'll be daggone if you're going to have me feel the same way, like I don't belong there, you know? So anyway, she leaves and he has a smile on his face. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I think Lucious likes to get that kind of rise out of Cookie. I think it turns him on a little bit. Anyway, before I move on with the episode, there was a preview. Now bear with me, and I just want to put this out there. There was a preview called Queen and Slim, right? And it's coming out on Thanksgiving. It just looked like a pretty good movie, so I just wanted to mention that. Not normally do stuff like that, but looks like a good movie, and I'd love to watch that and even do a little review on that. But anyway, go check that movie out, Queen and Slim. I mean, I'm not getting paid for telling y'all to do that, but hey, it looks like it's gonna be a good movie. Okay. So anyway, we got a sex video of Devon that goes viral, right? And he says it's not even him, okay? Then we got Cookie with her sisters at the Coochie Spa. And she's telling them that Lucious won't forgive her. Candace is like, wait a minute, shouldn't he be the one seeking forgiveness? You know, Candace, seems like she's always anti-Lucious. And so Carol goes, she just wants Cookie to admit that she misses Lucious and she wants him back. And, you know, it's a big difference between Carol and Candace, you know. And then in another scene, we have Terry talking to Lucious, and she's telling him, Cookie may not say it, but she missed you when you were gone, and so did Andre. And she said, you remind me a little bit of Quincy's father. Whenever he was hurting, he kind of took it out on us, and it eventually pushed her away. And she was trying to warn him, like saying, you don't want to, have that same thing happen. And Lucious is like, oh, well, thanks, but no thanks. I'm one of a kind, So anyway, on Tea Talk, we have Lucious as a surprise guest. Everybody else seemed to know that Lucious was coming on the show, except for, I'm talking about everybody on the show, like the co-hosts, right? And everybody, they knew about it, but Cookie didn't know about it. Of course, he was a surprise guest to the audience, but he was also a surprise guest to Cookie. So he comes to the show to clear up Devon's sex tape scandal. Clearly, Cookie is not happy that he's there. She's giving her co-host the side eye, and she does everything she can to undermine Lucious. She throws like a little plug for Boss Media. She talks about how, Empire's loss of Tiana is Bossy Media's gain, and all that stuff, and how they're going to be sponsors for her fundraiser and all that stuff. And then they're going back and forth, pretty much arguing on set, or like in front of the camera on the show. And then Lucious is like, he tells her that Devon's going to perform at the fundraiser, and all the proceeds are going to go to 100% of the proceeds are going to go to her fundraiser. And so Cookie wasn't feeling it because he made himself look like the man, and everybody's like, oh, he's a good man, he's so generous, this and that. So she's like, what kind of games? You know what I'm saying? What are you up to? So she was basically seeing right through Lucious's games. All right. So then we're at Cookie's fundraiser, and Tracy shows up on the red carpet right next to her, and she's like, you owe me, and this and that. And it's like, when is this lady gonna stop showing up and go away? Like, you know what I'm saying? She's always talking about somebody owe her. And Cookie says, listen, that debt was paid. How long are you going to hold that over my head? And, so Cookie is like giving her insults and reminding her of how much of a crackhead she is and all that stuff. And Carol slides in and says, hey, listen now, like, this chick just dropped $25,000 on the table now, so you might want to ease up. And so Cookie does. She eases up and she tells Tracy thank you, but then she says, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Cookie tries to play nice, and then Tracy skedaddles. So then Lucious joins the red carpet, and he's playing nice with Cookie, and she lets him know that tonight is very important to her. Please don't come in here with your petty shenanigans. Like, seriously, please just leave them at the door. But he seemed to have pulled some type of trick because Tiana was supposed to perform, but then they have these t-shirts that said canceled on them. So she told Giselle and Becky, listen, Tiana cannot perform. I'm sorry. This night means too much for me, and I just cannot let her perform. So then she said it has Lucious written all over it. She sees him, she pushes him, and then she goes up on stage and she announces the next performer, and she says, oh no, it's not Devon. And so Lucious obviously thought Devon was going to perform, but Cookie pulled a fast one as well and had Treasure perform. So as Treasure was performing, her views and streams or whatever were going up, and she wound up winning the competition against Devon. And, Lucious and Andre gave each other a very respectful nod, you know what I mean? And Lucious looked like, he kind of just gave that congratulated type of nod or whatever. So it was good. It was a good sport type of situation. But anyway, so Cookie makes a speech, and she tells everyone at the fundraiser that she's happy to have a second chance at life, and second chances are important to her, especially since she sold drugs for the man that she loved, and she served 17 years for it, and $400,000 of that money built Empire. And so, of course, Lucious is not happy, but he's in the audience clapping it up. And then she tells the women in the audience, like, don't go following after a man into a life of bad choices and sacrifices. So then in the last scene, we have Cookie and Lucious going at it again. And he's like, you basically made a mockery of me. And she said, I told you that tonight meant a lot to me, and not to come with the pettiness. And he let her know that she violated an NDA, a non-disclosure. Okay, and Cookie is like, doesn't seem to really care. She's like, whatever, come sue me. I don't care. Because he told her he's going to sue. And she's like, I don't even care. Whatever. I sweat that in my sleep or something, she said. All right, $4 million he's going to sue her for. But then she starts talking about how, you resent me because I made this happen on my own and all that stuff. And he says, there you go. That myth, that 17-year myth that you just been holding on to. So he pops her bubble, as I was talking about in the beginning of this video, and tells her, listen, your $400, your $400, your $400,000 that you swear up and down invested in this business, in an empire, in this legacy or whatever, it didn't get far. It was done in like a couple of months after you was locked up. I had to pay producers. I had to pay for studio time. I got taken by vendors when it came to my CDs and putting this package in the CDs and all of this stuff. And by the time all of that was said and done, I was broke. And then Bumpy comes and tells me that Philly Street makes his living by robbing banks. And he should not have told me that. Because guess what? We find out that Lucious went and robbed Philly Street for $1 million, right? And he tells Cookie that the $1 million is what funded his first album, not your $400,000. That $400,000 meant less to Empire than you do to me now. Of course, always talking trash. Of course, always, they always have to hit below the belt and hurt each other. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Lucious is, saying all these mean things, and Cookie is basically saying, I don't believe you. That was her response. At first, when he was telling the story, she did seem like she believed him. Like, oh, she kind of looked like she felt a little stupid, kind of, and even a little hurt, because if this is true, then she's been living a lie pretty much and thinking a lie, right? And maybe in some type of way, it could make her feel a little less than herself, But anyway, Cookie, she's the bomb. She shouldn't have to feel that way, but whatever. That's probably how she was feeling at the moment. And then comes to find out, Philly Street went to jail for killing someone that he thought robbed him for $1 million. And what is going to happen if he finds out that it was Lucious? Oh my gosh, will he make the same mistake again? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I hope Cookie don't wind up going and telling him. Who knows, man? Anyway, so all Cookie had to say was that he was lying and she didn't believe him. And she said, you just can't take it that I'm behind your legacy. A woman is behind your legacy. And so she drops her keys and she leaves the house. And, but what I have to say before I close is I believe him, actually. I believe the story. I believe that this is something that Lucious would do, But I also understand why Cookie doesn't believe him, because it's kind of like, would Lucious hold on to this information for all these years? Like, why didn't he throw it in her face a long time ago? Like she said, I don't believe that Mr. Petty D would hold on to this information. Like, all the time that she done told him that the company was built on her back and all this stuff. Why is he telling her now? What was his reason for holding back? But anyway, like I said, I believe it. But do you guys believe Lucious? Do you guys believe that he really did rob Philly Street? I definitely believe that. Because why didn't you want Philly Street in your video or in the movie? Or, why was you trying to omit the guy? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but tell me what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. I know that it wasn't as juicy. You know what I'm saying? I guess they kind of took a break. They paused on the dramatics. I don't know. But it was kind of, this episode was a little on the weak side. We had to wait all the way to the end to get to some juicy stuff. And I don't really appreciate that. Let me know if you guys, like this episode. I mean, once again, we didn't see Hakeem, so I don't know what's going on with that. Like, it's crazy. So that's my review for this episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week for episode number 6. Take care. Bye-bye.